Greetings. I welcome you all to today's video presentation. Our topic of discussion is on bioethics in research involving human subjects and human samples. We will be talking about the importance of informed consent, privacy, ethical and legal issues. We know that research practice has evolved over the period of time. What are the issues that have changed over the years that have shaped current research practice? Stay tuned as we take you through the topic and discuss these issues. Now, let us start our discussion with a case scenario. Assume you are a biomedical researcher who has just discovered a new diagnostic technique that is able to diagnose a disease that has been prevailing for a long time. You know that if your test is successful, you are going to be super rich. You decide to test this technique on your relatives. What are the ethical issues surrounding this kind of research? Research practice involving humans and their samples has evolved over the years. In the past, there have been recorded incidences of research studies that were done on humans that are now clearly classified as unethical by current standards. In 1932 to 1972, the Tuskegee research on syphilis in the US was one such unethical research practice that is recorded today. In 1796, Edward Jenner in the UK conducted smallpox vaccine on his own son and some other neighborhood children. Many other unethical research practices in the past, including the Nazi research projects in concentration camps, have been recorded. These and the others have led to the development of guidelines that now guide the practice of research involving humans and human subjects. In 1947, the Nuremberg Code was developed with the aim of protecting humans from such harm. Now, why do we need ethical practice in research? Generally, it is important to have ethical regulation and ethical practice in research to protect humans from harm through their participation in research. Ethical practice is based on 4 principles. First, the principle of autonomy, which entails that individuals are able to make their own decisions based on their beliefs and convictions. And second, the principle of non-maleficence, which states that we must avoid to do harm. And the third one is the principle of beneficence, which states that we must strive to do good. And the last one is the principle of justice, which states that we must administer fairness lawfully. These are the basic principles of ethical practice. We shall now go forward and look at the timelines for the development of research guidelines that enhance ethical research practice today.
We have seen some of the malpractices in human research in previous section. What guidelines now exist in ethical conduct in human subject research? Can researchers use your body tissue or sample for research without your knowledge? I am Uthara Chandran. I am going to take the section Major Ethical Guidelines Timeline, Informed Consent and its Importance. Major Ethical Guidelines Timeline. In 1947, Nuremberg Code for Research on Human Subjects adopted. In 1964, World Medical Association Helsinki Declaration on Ethical Principle for Research on Human Subjects. In 1979, the National Commission releases the Belmont Report, Principles of Ethical Research on Human Subjects. In 2000, the Indian Council of Medical Research has laid down the ethical guidelines for biomedical research on human subjects. Next is informed consent. Informed consent is the hallmark of any ethical research work. It is based on the principle of respect for person's autonomy. Simply, it's getting permission from an individual to use his or her sample or tissue for the research work. That is, the individual must be aware of the benefits and risk of this research. For minors, their parents should be provided with the informed consent. Next is the importance of informed consent. The concept of consent comes from the ethical issues of respect for participants' integrity as well as self-determination. Every human being has the right to decide what should be done with his body. So, Besides the legal implications, a researcher should be there for the individual to explain what he intends to do and the implications involved as part of his duty. The researchers may do nothing to the participants or individuals without their valid consent. This principle may be applicable for all the medical treatments, diagnosis, and all the researchers.
What would you do if your name published by a research institution describing your medical details collected during a research project? I am Brajain and I am going to take the section Privacy and Ethics in Human Research. Privacy in research. Privacy refers to individuals and their interest in controlling the access of others to themselves, and no participant should ever be forced to reveal the information to the researcher if that participant does not wish to reveal. When the identity is not going to be exposed, a research participant will provide the honest responses about the information regarding the individual beliefs. Confidentiality is also equally important in research. It relates the extent to which the researcher protects the participant's private information, and it is the process of protecting an individual's privacy. Then how to maintain privacy in research? Use participant codes to label data instead of using names. To protect participant confidentiality, you should encrypt computer data files, store documents in locked file cabinet, and remove personal identifiers from study documents. Use personal computers and portable devices for handling and storing data. Human research ethics. Research ethics provides guidelines for the responsible conduct of research. In human research, all research involving human beings should be reviewed by an ethics committee and monitor scientists conducting research to ensure high ethical standard. 4 basic principles of ethics: autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. Explanation of these basic principles. First one, autonomy. Person can make their own decision about personal values, convictions, and beliefs. Researchers must respect that individuals should make their own informed decisions about whether to participate in research. Second, beneficence. It is the benefit of the patient and support a number of moral rules to protect and defend the right of others, prevent harm, and remove the condition that can cause harm, and it can also help person with disabilities and rescue the person in danger. Next one is non-maleficence. It means not to harm the patient. This simply stated principle that support several moral rules like do not kill, do not cause pain or suffering, do not cause offense, etc. And the last one, justice, generally interpreted as fair, equitable, and appropriate treatment of persons. In research ethics, justice is fair selection of research participants and ideal distribution of risk and benefits when scientists conducting a clinical research.
I am Meenu Sreekumar. I am going to take this section Legal Issues in Research Involving Human Subjects and Samples. Now imagine if a research participant was seriously injured in a research that had no approval in the first place. Do the researchers hold legal responsibility for the injury? Was the research legal in the first place? Okay, let us look at legal issues in research involving human subjects and samples. First of all, the researchers have legal responsibility relating to their research. It is important to get their approval before proceeding to do any research. There are some regulatory bodies set up to protect the safety of the participants. Manipulation of data and inventing data is a serious crime. Violation of ethical principles can potentially result in legal actions from participants or research governing bodies. And also, plagiarism must be avoided while submitting the report. Coming to the summary, human subjects in research are the source of data, and it is the duty of researchers to protect the life, health, dignity, integrity, right to self-determination, privacy and confidentiality of participants. In India, guidelines for biomedical research are stipulated in the National Ethical Guidelines for Biomedical and Health Research involving human participants.